Welcome to the strange and mysterious world with William and Lee.
Welcome to Season 3, Episode 5, Strange and Mysterious World. We have Nicola Farmer on today all the way from the UK. She's going to be chatting about kids and the ICU Academy, not the intensive care unit, but the ICU Academy in the UK. And it's about kind of making kids become better, the better part of themselves, and kind of giving them some sort of, not mystical powers, but some sort of abilities that can assist them in their life. So yeah, let's welcome Nicola.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. There's that room, and I know so well, and also you're looking amazing, very glowing.
Thank you.
Healthy.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah, I had a very interesting dream a couple of weeks ago about a client has suggested I take 2 new supplements, and because one of them is bovine, because I'm vegan, it was like absolutely not. And then that night I dreamt of a lady, and she said, "Where are you from?" And I told her Arcturus, and she said no. And then she said a word and said Amra. And that night I had a dream, and somebody said to me that, and she said this Amra. And then I woke up, I Googled the word Amra, and it was a company in Florida who produce colostrum, bovine colostrum, and the company's called Amra.
Wow.
This is a colostrum for vegans.
No, it's not. I've had to break my rules. But it is amazing stuff. It's really, really cool.
Well, it looks like it's definitely doing something. I think I'm going to get some. Yeah. You're looking.
Yeah. So
Lee's a vegan. That's why he probably knows about this. What did you ask?
Oh, okay, Lee.
Yeah. I'm a vegan.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really call myself vegan because I eat honey, but I try and follow it as much as I can.
Oh, geez. Well, I really admire you guys. I tried veganism for 6 months, and it was the hardest thing I've probably done in my life. It was, there was nothing ever to eat ever. I got so skinny because it wasn't from the diet. It was just because there's nothing to eat ever.
That's because you weren't using your imagination.
I can't even get it right when I'm eating everything. If I eat meat and I still can't use my imagination enough to make a great meal. So veganism was just it was like baked beans and peanut butter.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to get healthy that way.
But Nicola, thank you so much for being on the show. This is Lee, by the way.
Hello, Lee.
How's
it, Nicola?
Hi, to meet you.
And
you too, man.
Sorry, go for it, Lee.
I was going to say, Nicola, where about from in the UK you're from?
I'm in the southeast. I'm in the county of Essex, which is east of London.
Essex,
yeah.
Okay.
North of Kent, east of London, south from Suffolk and Norfolk.
Okay.
Oh, in Cambridgeshire.
Cool.
So, Nicola, tell us about yourself. Firstly, the ICU Academy. If you could just tell us what that's about and how you got into that.
Okay. What do you want first, me or the academy?
Let's go for you first. Okay.
So, gosh, where do you start? There's so much. I'll keep it brief. So I'm a psychic trance medium. I'm a healer, a course creator, and I create healing modalities as well. And I've been doing this for about 20 years. And I woke up to it from having chronic fatigue for a long time. Had some dreams with my sister who died when she was younger, and started on a journey of discovery, really, of what it means to be a spiritual being, a spiritual person, if you like. And I explored, I searched, and I traveled, and I've been around the world, different places, learning with other teachers, training other people to be themselves. So I have a ball. My work is just pure magic. I work with people all around the world. Going into the pandemic was such a grace for me because I switched everything online, and then I could open everything up to the world of everything that I do. So yeah, I have a ball. I have the most amazing time. Just created a new self-awareness sort of healing modality based on quantum jumping. So that's just been rolled out, and it's having amazing, profound effects on people.
Oh,
So that's really cool. And
interesting.
then I created the ICU Academy.
Okay, well, tell us about it.
Sorry, just what is? Sorry, well, what is quantum jumping?
Okay, so it's taking your consciousness into another dimension where you are experiencing another reality, but depending on the purpose of that jump, that sort of shift of consciousness, depends where you go. So I created it based on a design that I was gifted from consciousness and a particular healing chamber. And you jump within the chamber, but each of the architectural bars of the upper chamber are other dimensions where you can go and meet a perfect version of yourself and bring back something into your terrestrial life that will enhance or heal or add value to your terrestrial life. So it's a leaping consciousness to another.
Is it a meditation?
It's
Is it a sort of meditation, Nicola?
Yeah, Lee, it's in 3 parts. The first part is heart activation. The second part is attunement and healing with all the solfeggio frequencies. And then the third part is the jump into the healing chamber. A friend of mine was diagnosed with Lyme's disease, and she was about 2 months in, I think it was, when she took her quantum jump. And she jumped with the intention of bringing back a healing for her Lyme's, and then a week later she had blood tests and it was gone.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you say you got this from you channeled this information from your guide. How did that happen? How did that work?
Well, the healing chamber itself, when I program a healing to happen for somebody at a distance, I was using one of the platonic shapes as a healing chamber. And I'd put someone in the healing chamber and then program it to happen while they were asleep, so that I wasn't having to sort of wake up 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and carry out the healing while they were asleep. And this one particular time, the shape morphed into something else. And I sort of had a visual of it. And I when I woke up, I drew it very, very quickly. But the healing chamber itself was, you didn't have to program it. You put the person inside the healing chamber without needing to say, and I want this and this and this to happen. You just put the person in the healing chamber as a visual with the outcome, and the chamber did everything. So on top of that, I got this download of information about using the solfeggio frequencies, and also what to do, as in where you take them, what happens when they're taking their jump, and who else is integrated into it, whether it be an ascended master, an archangel, a light being, or something that would assist them during their quantum jump.
Oh,
so yeah,
wow.
It's really exciting, actually. Yeah.
Sounds very interesting.
And I can find that online on your website, like the prices and everything there, huh?
Yeah, it can be booked through the website as well. So that's nicolafarmer.com. And yeah, it's I've got I just released a few dates on my website to give people the opportunity to try it, and they've gone. They've literally gone in a flash. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Wow, and the ICU Academy, is that
awesome.
still happening? Are you still doing that?
Oh, you're not kidding. There's inquiries coming in every day of the week for people wanting to train as teachers, people looking for practitioners where they're living. So at the end of last year, I set a teacher training program for this year up till September, and the first half of the year is already filled with people taking the teacher training.
Wow. So please explain what this is. Sorry, because like our audience doesn't even know what it is yet.
Yeah. So the ICU Academy is an organization I set up based on taking children through a process where their left and right brain can become coherent using a specific technique that they potentially can do anything that they wish to going forward. As in, it takes away any inhibitions, any lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem. And the program itself takes them on a journey into what we call their outer consciousness. So rather than just living in their inner world, their normal senses being, seeing, hearing, etc. And also we bypass the left brain so that there's no logic attached, and take them through this process where they're completely engaged in their right brain, so the creative, the intuitive side of their brain. And this journey takes them with a potential of actually being able to see, read, play games, anything, completely blindfolded. So we take away their vision, we take away their inhibitions, we even shut down the pineal gland, the third eye, so that they're not seeing clairvoyantly, so that their outer consciousness fully aligns with them and they see with that.
It's amazing.
Okay.
It's so amazing, Nicola. Like, I mean, obviously all the videos online, and you've also been in so many documentaries. I mean, I've watched like maybe 3 documentaries that you've been in, not even knowing that you're going to be in the documentary. I'm like, oh, there's Nicola again.
She pops up everywhere.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's just amazing the course, and just seeing these children with the blindfold on, and like being able to see and read and play games and run and jump and go through obstacle courses. I mean, it's absolutely amazing, and obviously I did the course with you, and I learned how to do it. I did it with my daughter. I got her to see through the blindfold. I've got actually video footage. I filmed it and everything, and
Yeah.
it's very remarkable. And also her self-confidence, his confidence, like because when we would go into stores and stuff, she would always like run and hide behind my legs and like be like a bit shy or whatever. And then
Yeah.
after she did that, um yeah, she just like goes and greets people in the street and says hi to everybody, and like when we're leaving someone's house, she just runs up and hugs them like strangers and that. So I saw quite a significant change in her when I did that.
And that's the key, really.
And that was a downfall of your relationship, William.
Yeah, well, yeah, but Nicola, I must say, like I did get into a lot of trouble. I mean, that's why I actually I didn't continue, because actually it opened up the most biggest Pandora's box with my daughter's, because me and my daughter's mother, we're not together. So I
Oh,
see her a few times a week. And then when she found out about this, oh my gosh, of my life. I went through probably about 6 months of the worst time of my life.
oh, wow.
Absolutely. I mean, there was lawyers and there was social workers, and it was I had to get investigated. I was accused of being in a cult, and like I mean, it was so hectic. So, I mean, I don't want this I don't want the podcast to be about this, but it looks like we yeah. But it
Wow,
was
that's amazing.
and it was very unfortunate because I saw, I mean, like I saw the how and we got so far in it, and then it just had to stop, and it was, yeah, it was just, I mean, the amount of money we spent on lawyers, and geez, I mean, also like I would, my daughter's mother wouldn't let me see my daughter. Like I was like blocked from seeing my daughter. I would only be able to see her with but this is only from my mother. It wasn't, the courts didn't rule this out, or the social workers or whatever. Then they came in and they did a whole investigation, and they found out there's no problem. I mean, it's such a long story, Nicola, but
Are you telling me that that was all over the ICU program?
no. Well, look, the thing
Yeah.
was, it started with, I was practicing like a lot of other esoteric kind of, I was doing like Reiki and crystal healing
Yeah,
and stuff like this.
yeah.
I was part of an organization that's also got a really bad rap on the internet. Like, I'm not part of it anymore, but
Oh, okay.
but they but the classes were fun, and I was doing some of their healing modalities and whatever, trying it, but the thing was that the scene through the blindfold, that's what set it off, because like it- because when she went home and she said like, this is what we're doing, to her mother like, she had charged me of child abuse and domestic violence. That was, but the thing was, Nicola, like, she was so angry at me for something else, because like, Lee, I mean, look, if we're going for long here, you can cut this out or whatever, but the, because when she heard that I was doing this thing with the blindfold, and also because she was getting itchy eyes, she got itchy eyes
Yeah,
when she did the
which is
blind,
normal.
and that's what I remember in in the class, you said the children are going to get itchy eyes, and that's when it starts working. That's when
That's right.
actually, because the brain's trying to figure out like, okay, am I seeing through the eyes? Where like the nervous system and the eyes are like. So she was getting the itchy eyes, and she was itching them, and she was. So then, and then also when she started seeing through the blindfold, I was so amazed that I went and I got those band-aids for pink eye. You know, when you got a pink eye and you put a child's patch on your eyes. So I put the patches on her eyes and I put the blindfold on, just because I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe. I'm thinking she's peeking under the blindfold or whatever. So this is what she went home and she told her mother, and she said, like, I'm taping her eyes closed, and her eyes are getting really itchy, and and so her mother went berserk, and then so she went to the police. She like filed in a report. It was a 19-page report, Nicola. But I mean, because she took out like nearly every single angry thing that she had ever had anger at me. I mean,
It triggers her big
she
time.
was saying on that police report, it was like, I don't lock the doors when she's in the car while we're driving. I went
Oh,
downstairs the one time where I left her upstairs and I went to go get something out of my car. I take her surfing and she can't swim. I mean, she was like, I mean, I would never take her surfing. I mean, I would paddle with her in the frothy water in the front there, but like, I mean, and
yeah.
so it was like a 19-page hate letter to the police. I felt so sorry for that officer. He's sitting there because it's supposed to be a one-page affidavit. She's filled in 19 pages, and she keeps on writing at the bottom, please turn to next page. And so like the poor police officer had to go through like 19 pages of this thing. And then at the end, she wrote, I'm part of a cult where we drink people's blood and menstrual fluids and semen. And it's which is like amazing, because I just found it so amazing, because like anybody can, it just shows you can go to the police station and you can just say anything about anybody. I can just go to a police, I can take an affidavit and I can be like, I can
You
just
know
say
what,
anything
William?
I want about anybody. It's just the most amazing thing. Like it was, but anyway,
You
saying that, I can laugh about it now, but it was the most scary, and it was so horrifying, and it was terrible. I mean, I
you
went
know,
through.
here in the UK, you'd be lucky to find a police station with its door open, one that you can actually walk in and speak to a real person.
What's happening there? What, are they gone all online? Like, you have
Well,
to.
they're just so short of police officers, and lots of the police stations have closed down. They've amalgamated them into bigger ones. But you'd be lucky to have an open door to walk through and have a chat with a police officer.
Oh my gosh, she's shame, man. Well, how's the crime going there? Is it like on?
Pretty high. Probably not as bad as South Africa, but um,
But yeah, we
you
can still go into a police
Getting
station
there.
and complain about our exes. Uh,
here they just laugh at you. Oh, I'm really sorry you went through that, but I'm actually glad, because you know what? It's probably made you a much stronger person.
well, it's funny that
Yeah.
my relationship with her mother is actually a lot better now
Good.
than when it was before that. But it was hell. And Nicola, the crying, the freaking, the stress, the amount of money. I mean, I don't know. It was so hectic.
What did you learn from it?
Don't tell the mother.
Yeah, you should tell the lie.
Yeah, don't get involved with another woman.
Yeah, no, I promise you, I've been like traumatized with it because what is that thing? What's that saying? Like the wrath of a woman, don't mess with a woman because
Oh yeah,
was it a woman scorned, the wrath of a woman scorned or something?
something like that. Yeah,
Texas, but cheapest.
yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I'm not like that, I
Anyway.
promise you.
But,
No, cool.
all
But
over.
look, it just shows you the people.
Social worker found out it
Yeah,
was
it shows you.
fine, and slowly.
Yeah. Look, it shows you the people in the world are not ready. A lot of people are not ready for stuff. They're still stuck in another dimension. Not even.
Yeah.
They're nowhere near ready. They're still far behind. Far behind.
We're in a year now. 2025 is going to be a year of massive exposure. And astrologically, there's going to be, we've got this massive alignment at the moment, which is very revealing. But, even if we look at the Chinese New Year, we're going into the year of the snake. And this particular year is about transparency. It's about massive revelations and shedding of old skins, and also masses of human awakenings. So, we're going into a really, really good year.
Oh, fantastic. That's great to hear.
Good.
I don't know. That 2004 was the worst year. I mean, the thing is, I've asked other people, and they've also gone through a lot of stuff that year. So I think it was a bad year. I don't know.
It wasn't a bad year. It was a heavy year of, alignment. It was a heavy year of shedding what no longer serves you, getting clarity, understanding of who you are, where you stand, and where life is taking you. And then as we shifted into 2025 and we're going through January, this is tying up of loose ends. And then when we move into February, especially the beginning of the Chinese calendar, things are going to start shifting rapidly.
Wow. So what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I do believe that there's going to be some massive revelations within governments, banking systems, within so many institutions that they can't hide anymore. And the more people that wake up and realize what's going on, the less trust there'll be. And the institutions will start to fall apart.
It sounds like it's happening already.
It is. It is. You've only got to look at the States with Trump getting in as president. He's just pulled the US out of the WHO, which is massive, completely, enormously massive. So this is like the beginning of the end. But we've got a lot of people still living in the third dimension. We've got a lot who are starting to vibrate fourth dimension, and even more moving into the fifth dimension. And it's like we've got three worlds running concurrently at the moment, but everybody's in these different frequencies. But the shedding of the old world will be a mass awakening. And I kind of describe it as this huge void is opening up between humanity. And you've got on one side of the void the asleep, and on the other side you've got the awake. But even the awake are falling into the void because they're not continuing to evolve. So what will happen is that void will get wider and wider, and eventually it will stop. And all of those that manage to stay on the awake side because they continue to evolve will start to build an energetic bridge back to the other side. Then those that have fallen into the void because they haven't evolved will realize they've got to start, getting on their bikes and pedaling hard because they need to catch up. But that bridge building from the awake to the asleep, you'll see thousands running across the bridge. So anybody that has spiritual teaching abilities, healing modalities, anything like that, they're going to be called upon en masse, because the systems that are there sort of physically, mentally and emotionally can't cope with the volume of awakening human beings that actually need assistance. And in that sort of third dimensional world, they can't do that anymore. So, you know, as it's moving forward, I mean, I can't begin to tell you how exciting this year's going to be. And the key to it, and I get this every single, at the end of every year, I get a word that we need to work with in the following year. And the word for 2025 is forgiveness. But it's forgiveness of self first.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
we have to look within and say, what am I holding on to that I need to forgive myself for? And someone said to me, well, what's yours? And I really dug deep and I said to this person, I need to forgive myself for taking on responsibility that was never mine. You know, because in a way that's held me back for so many years that, you know, I blame and hold that responsibility, but actually it was never mine to hold on to. And that's the sort of thing we need to be doing internally and then externally forgiving those that we feel need it. But it doesn't have to be verbal or written. It can be done energetically. But that is a major key of moving forward into the new dimensions.
Yeah. It's kind of like in the airplane when they say put your face mask on first before you help anybody else, you know?
Exactly.
So it's like
Yeah.
you got to forgive yourself first and before
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Set yourself free and then see what.
Well, I think I think this is also kind of the reason why we, we do this podcast, because we have so many people on that come in that talk about spiritual things. They talk about cycles of Earth, the lifetimes. You know, we're already into our third season now, and we've been chatting about the Yuga cycles, which is the Indian period of time that kind of dictates to when humans become extinct and when we rise again, you know, those kind of things. And
Yeah.
there's a Yuga shift starting in March. So, and that's a massive thing. So that's actually why I think the podcast that we're doing currently now, we've actually got at the right time, because as much as we talk about these things, we're hoping to get to people outside that can kind of start listening and thinking to themselves, all right, yeah, it's time now that we need to start moving. And that's why we enjoy having people like you on, Nicola. Seriously.
Thank you. Yeah.
But also, Nicola, I mean, yeah, just talking about the time and people not being awake or opening or whatever, it's like when I taught my daughter how to see through that blindfold from doing your class,
Yeah.
I was so excited, and I was like, I sent a video to like my parents and to my aunt, and then my aunt sends a message back, and she goes, "So why would you want to do that?" Like she goes, what is the point of that?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like if your daughter realizes that there's something that she can do that's actually scientifically against everything that we've been taught, don't you think that knowing that you are able to do that and there's something beyond us is probably the most important realization you could you like the most beautiful gift you could be ever given to like to actually like witness a miracle basically, or like know that you can do something that is actually deemed impossible, you know?
Yeah.
And to even witness that is so miraculous. And I'm just thinking, when she asked me, I was just like, what is wrong with people? I mean, can't they? It just blew my mind. I was just like, oh my God, you go, because I just don't know how people can. I mean, I can't even express with words like how amazing it is that somebody could actually do that, and what it opens up to your realm or your world to, even when you witness it, that there's, you know, like it makes you believe that there's something bigger than us. There's a universe we don't know about. There's something to ourselves that we don't know about. That we're so much bigger than we really think we are, or we know we are. And life isn't so mundane and I just it blew my mind when she asked. You know, I was just like, oh my God, actually I give up. The people are just, they're just too asleep. I don't know.
No,
How to explain.
I read something, I'm just looking for it now, I can't find it. But I read something earlier today, and it was basically saying, stop worrying about waking others up. Just focus on your own evolution and let that be an inspiration for them to follow you.
Yeah.
And I understand exactly what you're saying, William, about about the ICU work because, you know, it's beyond most people's comprehension. You know, you put a blindfold on a kid and you take them through the process of awakening them to their outer consciousness. And the kids can pick up a book and read it. They could ride a bicycle. They could, you know, clean their teeth. They can do anything, you know, play computer games or whatever. And it is beyond human comprehension. So it's really difficult when you're on board and when you know what is possible and what's capable and you know the science behind it and you know that it's life-changing, world-changing. But our expectation of others to grasp it, to understand it, to be as enthusiastic as we are is kind of like poking ourselves in the eye with a stick because they just can't get it. Their brains aren't that way that they can really understand it. And rather than get frustrated about it, for me, it's like, okay, well, that's where you're at. This is where the children are at. This is where I am at. But nothing is going to stop me moving forward.
But
Nothing.
yeah,
You know,
Nick,
and I've said, you know, I've said this lots of times before, but you know, I was having a conversation with my girlfriends and we were talking about our partners and, you know, what they do for us and how good they are and everything else. And I turned around and I said, but you know, if my husband says that he can't manage the way I need to live my life, if he can't understand or doesn't want to understand how I'm living and how I need to evolve and work with, you know, thousands of people, then I wouldn't hesitate if he said, I'm leaving. And it would break my heart because I love him dearly. But I would never dream of holding him back. And he would never dream of holding me back because we have this mutual understanding of where we're at. So looking at other people and having expectations of them is only going to cause you angst and nobody else.
well, I learned the hard way, Nicola, like with
Yeah.
my ex. I mean, so much
Yeah.
so that people don't understand, or they so it actually, like, I got basically persecuted to. I mean, it was hell. I can't even describe what. So I mean, I've like I used to be excited and tell everybody. I mean, I've still got this podcast. I'm still making documentaries about it. But I mean, people. I don't even talk to like other people really about it anymore. I just kind of shrunk. I was like out there, like, you know, if I meet strangers and I just start talking about weird stuff, whatever. I just like, because it is all fun and games, but actually, it is actually very serious as well.
It is.
And I've learned the hard way that it's actually it's very serious stuff. You know, it's not all fun and games.
You know what it comes down to? It comes down to how attuned you are intuitively and how you can be discerning to know who you can talk to and who you can't.
Yeah,
And, you know, and that sort of intuition is like, yes, I can talk to him, but no, I can't talk to her. And it's being choosy who you share the information with.
yeah, yeah.
And that's partly self-preservation, but
Mm.
actually, why waste your time sharing something with somebody who's got no interest or is never going to be able to understand what you're saying?
Yeah, no, of course, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, I understand your enthusiasm and your excitement about it. Um, but you know, people say to me, well, if these kids can read blindfolded, can you teach blind children to read? You know, um, yes, you probably can. But is the world ready for that? No, they're not.
yeah,
So I have to, you know, even with new things that come up with the ICU program as it stands, I have to roll them out gently and slowly because um, I need to protect the work. I don't own the method. I'm the guardian of it. And as guardians, like Mother Earth is guardian of planet Earth, she has to do what she sees for the whole. And as guardian of the ICU program, I have to do what I see is right for the whole. And that's the discernment that we absolutely need, along with discipline.
yeah. But it's also yeah, it's also how far people are along their path or whatever. Because
Yeah.
I also made this documentary now. It was all about mystery schools, and it was like talking about, you know, like all of this, you know, like what they do and what like the what is in the organization and what their beliefs are and everything. And I was so excited or whatever, and I showed it to some people that were like also interested in these things, and they thought it was amazing. They're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so amazing, whatever, whatever." Then I showed it to this other producer lady, and she looked at it because I'm trying to get it sold to a channel, and she just was like, "Oh, she doesn't actually understand it." So, and then I took it because me and Lee are part of the Rosicrucian. We study the Rosicrucian monographs, whatever. And I was at the temple, so we had a screen at the temple because a lot of it was about the Rosicrucian.
Yeah.
And everyone was like very like they were like, "Oh my gosh, it's so amazing!" But there was this one guy that didn't, or he also didn't understand it. So it was like, and I was like, okay, well, maybe because I thought it was so clear to me. But then I've also realized when I read like a book like Isis Unveiled by Blavatsky, I don't actually understand a lot of that. I mean, I try to read a Dion Fortune book about the Kabbalah. You know, there's some people that can explain the Kabbalah well, but I mean, I didn't understand the things she was saying. Like I felt like stupid. And then or Eliphas Levi, I'm reading a book about Eliphas Levi. I can't understand a thing. So I'm trying to think, am I stupid or am I just not ready for that information? So I think it's
I use a term horses for courses, and there are things that we're going to be able to comprehend, understand, and be able to take on board, and things that we're not. We have the ability to be everything and nothing. So, I've had a book on my shelf for probably about 20 years, and I've never felt inclined to read it until now. And now I'm reading it, it makes sense. And honestly, at the weekend, I watched The Matrix for the first time.
wow.
Oh, really?
The
How was
first
it? Did you
time.
enjoy it? Was it good?
I friggin' loved it. It was just amazing. And I can't wait to watch the other two. But why have I never watched it before now?
Yeah, it is very interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it meant, I mean, I was like, I was watching it with 10 pairs of eyes because I was watching the human side, I was watching the matrix side, I was watching it through the eyes of, cosmic realms and things like that. So I was using like 10 pairs of eyes and 10 pairs of ears, and it was all computing inside of me from so many different angles. But if I'd watched it 10, 20 years ago, it
Yeah.
probably would have had the same effect.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. It was just seeing for
And
nuts and bolts kind of way.
yeah, and I'll tell you something that I was told about the mystery schools. And I'm talking from like ancient mystery school perspective. And I was sat in Egypt actually, and I was communicating with one of my guides, and I said to her, "Why don't we have like this mystery schools today, like the ancient ones, where you'd go and swim through a maze full of crocodiles and come out the other side either without a leg or fully okay?" And she laughed at me and she said, "You do have mystery schools today." And I said, "But not like the ancient ones." She said, "No, they can't be like that." I said, "Well, where are they?" And she said, "They're everywhere." And I said, "Oh, come on, Anna, be more specific for me." And she said, "Well, actually, you don't need to visit a place to attend a mystery school." Now, at this point, I'm thinking, you know what? In ancient mystery schools, you were invited to go to them. You didn't sort of put your hand up and say, "Can I go?" You were chosen to go to them. So this is going through my head at the time. And she said, the reason you don't need physical mystery schools today is because life is the mystery school. I said to her, "Tell me what you mean by that." And she said, when you attended mystery schools in ancient times, you went through challenges after challenges after challenges to come out the other side without fear, more enlightened, more aligned with who you are, etc., etc. And she said, "But your lives are the mystery school. And every challenge that you go through in life is the mystery school of life. And you come out the other side either going through the same challenge time and time again, or you come out the other side going, what did that teach me? What did I learn? What have I changed in myself?" So I just thought I'd share that with you because you're talking about the mystery schools. And I thought, oh, yeah, the mystery school of life. And then I was thinking, oh, my God, I've had so many challenges. That means every time I was chosen to have them.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you.
Oh, that's lovely.
Cool.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah, well, it's right. I mean, yeah, we do.
Yeah. But,
Sorry,
sad
Volker.
day, you go through multiple challenges and you don't learn from them. They're just going to keep hitting you in the face until you wake up.
Yeah. It's like Alan Watts when he was saying that, what is that? He was saying that you have this dream and everything's just going so well. And you're dreaming this dream, and then you have the dream again, but this time, you're so bored of the dream because you've had it so many times, you want something interesting to happen. So then something strange, or some difficulty happens in the dream, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. And then you carry on having that dream, and then you're like, oh, what? Like, and then that gets comfortable, and you have the dream, and you're like, oh, I want something more challenging, and then something else happens, just because you're getting bored of the same dream, and then it carries on happening, and then eventually that's where you are today. Like you're in the dream, but it's like full of challenges in that because that's how you wanted it.
But we have the power to change our dreams in the dream.
Yeah.
If we take control,
if you can remember it, yeah.
Yeah. If you have the power to control your dream while you're asleep, you can change anything. And I'll have a dream, and it's like, no, I don't like this. I don't like the way this is going. So I look at a possible outcome in a different way and change the format of the dream. And sometimes I'll wake up from a dream and think that's not enough. So I'll go back to sleep and go back into the dream and carry it on. And that could happen several times. Or I'll come out of a dream and go into the next dream and tell the person in the next dream about the previous one. So we have full control over that. Or maybe I'm just odd.
But,
No,
I think you're one of the rare ones because I don't I dream a lot. I don't always remember, but I'll tell you now, Monday night, I dreamt that something had nuclear gone. It had gone already, and everything around it had already been destroyed by a nuclear, whatever it was, a war bomb or whatever. And I could still taste the stuff. It was like a weird taste in the sky. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And I wish I could actually even remember sometimes. I mean, maybe once every 4 years, I can actually say, "Hey, I'm busy dreaming." But most of the time, it's almost like it's a reality that's happening until you wake up. You know what I mean? It's difficult to get to that point where you can change your dreams.
Yeah, but if you set your intention before you go to sleep to either remember it or be in control of it, the more you do that before you go to sleep, the easier it becomes.
yeah, because I've practiced that a lot, Nicola, and I've had some success, but sure, it is hard work. And I tried for like 2 months, and I have like 3 or 4 like dreams where I can. It's actually very vivid, and it's exciting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and then I can control it, and I can be like, oh my gosh, I'm dreaming now, and I'm like flying, and I start flying. But it's so much work to get there that I always give up, like after like 2 months of trying,
Don't give up. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, I wasn't sorry, we went on such a long sidetrack, but I did want to ask, how did you start the ICU? Like, how did you figure out, like, okay, well, I'm going to teach children how to see through a blindfold? Like, what brought you to that point?
Okay. So I was on a training course in Mexico with you may have heard of John Varlo Melchizedek.
No.
He's from Sedona in Arizona, and I was training to become one of his teachers in Awakening the Illuminated Heart. And there was a lady there from Mexico who John Varlo was talking about super psychic children, and this lady put her hand up and said, I work with kids like that. So my ears were like vibrating very fast at that point. Anyway, I got to know her, and kind of long story short, she came to the UK and I met up with her and her husband and my husband, and she said she was going to Canada to train adults to work with the kids. So she said, would you like to come? Well, like nanoseconds, I'm saying yes. So I go off to Canada and train in this particular method. And I brought it back to the UK, and I was the only person in the whole of Europe working with the kids in this sort of other blindfolded method. So as time passes, I have communication from my spirit team saying, we want you to train teachers. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So I contacted the people in Mexico, and they're like, no, it's not going to happen. So I left it a while, and I went back to them. I said, look, I'm getting guidance that I need to do this. What can I do to convince you that one, I'm capable, and two, this really needs to happen? So they made the decision to give me sort of guidelines on what I needed to do before I could even consider it. And to be honest with you both, it was completely impossible. So they could sort of set me a target that wasn't achievable. So I'm still getting this communication from my spirit team saying, but we want you to train teachers. And at this point, I'm like, go away, leave me alone. I don't have the blessing of the people in Mexico. Just leave me to get on with my work. And they went quiet for a while, and then they started again. And I said, look, I'm not having it on my conscience. Go away. And this voice said to me, but you haven't asked us how.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, if they say adamant, why don't they just try and help you somehow? Like, go
I
and
know,
whisper
I
in
know.
somebody's ears or something. Yeah.
Exactly. So I said, okay, how? And they said, get some paper and a pen and take these words down. So I'm scribbling like crazy, and they're downloading all of this information. And when I looked at it, there was a whole program on the sheets of paper in front of me on how to teach the children blindfolded in a completely different way. So I formatted it, and then I had some kids that I was going to be starting with. So I tried them on the new program, and it worked amazingly. And so I pulled away from the people in Mexico, and I basically said, look, I can't follow your protocol. I can't align with your ethics. I'm sorry, but I'm, going in another direction. So I started to work with the kids with the ICU method, and they loved it, absolutely loved it. It was quick, it was quirky, it was all of those things that the kids here and around the world needed. So I then put a teacher training program together and sort of tentatively rolled it out, and the rest is history. So yeah, I mean, there's the Mexican method, there's the ICU method, there's methods in China and India and all around the world. And I feel really blessed and honored, really, to have this particular method in my guardianship, and especially because it would be completely delusional to think that one method would work for everybody, So in looking at how other people are working, I did say to my team, my spirit team, with all these methods around the world, what sets the ICU program apart from the others? And they said to me, because yours comes from the heart. And that was the main difference. We're not trying to do mind manipulation or third eye activity here. These kids are literally working from their hearts, as are the teachers, through the right brain, so that it comes from a creative perspective and an outer consciousness perspective rather than, manipulating the mind. And that's what made it really different.
And also, Nicola, just taking the class. Well, firstly, I just want to say the class was absolutely amazing because, I mean, I've done so many spiritual things. I've spent so much money on so many courses and treatments and whatever. And I can say like 95% of it's actually all nonsense. But your thing worked, and I was so happy because then you find a gem and you're like, oh my God, this actually works. It's so exciting. So I'm a big fan of it. And also the other thing I want to say to you is that I learned, because your thing, as you say, coming from the heart, is that not only it was benefiting my daughter, but I learned because you teach us, like, because I took the course to learn how to teach my daughter, or to learn how to become a practitioner, or what do you call it? What do you call it? To teach kids.
Yeah.
And the way that you trained us to talk to kids, and like how their ego, they can be so like affected by just using certain words in your vocabulary of like when you're teaching them. I mean, it was just it opened up my whole way of how I talk to my daughter about anything, which was
Yeah.
just the most profound thing. Like whenever I'm talking to her about just having a conversation with her, never mind trying to teach her something, I just know that certain words, away your language is so important, how it frames their brain, and like the way you taught like how to teach the kids using these positive ways instead of the negative words and stuff like that. It's just so important, and how it's and I didn't know that it was affecting them so much. And then I've learned how to talk to my daughter through everything I talk to her, of trying to encourage her or telling her not to do something or whatever. So that was
Yeah.
very profound for myself, and I can see how you say it comes from the heart.
It changes lives in more ways. I mean, to be able to see with the blindfold on is like what we say, the cherry on top of the cake. But, a lot of children don't see blindfolded that go through the program, but they go through life-changing transformations. And there's one thing that every parent, well, practically every parent reports back on, and that their child or children that have taken the program become more loving.
Yes.
And that is something that is, for me, if that's the only box that needs to get ticked by teaching these kids, then we're winning. Apart from leaps in education, miraculous healings that they go through, the levels of confidence that they attain, that becoming more loving is just profound. And for me, if that's all that ever happens, then bring it on, because that's what this world needs more than anything.
Yeah. Fantastic, Nicola. What a way to end it. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Nicola.
You're so very welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
It's really
Yeah, thank you for your time.
and a pleasure to have you here, and to see you again. Thank you, and
Thank you. And nice to meet you, Lee, as well.
You too.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thanks, guys. I've loved our chat.
yeah,
Thanks, Nicola.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, enjoy the rest of your week.
Yes, you
You
too.
too.
Rest of your day, and I hope to chat to you soon.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, thank you.
I'd love to do another. I'll talk to you privately. Don't worry. This you're gonna just cut this out. But there's another thing I would love to interview you about, but we'll do it on another one.
Okay, yeah.
If you will.
Whenever. I know, I'd love to. Whenever. Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Nicola.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Nicola.
Bye.
Cheers. Nice.
Totally.
Cool. So you said you learned how to do this stuff as well. So can you do it? Can you see through the blindfold?
No, I didn't learn. It's not for grown-ups. Sorry. It's just for, sorry, I hope I didn't mislead people. No.
It's okay.
I learned how to be the person to teach children. Like know how to teach children how to do it. But I just
can't adults do the same thing?
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of stuff online about how you can do it, and a lot of courses. I mean, but the thing is, I mean, I spent like 8,000 Rand on another course to teach me how to do that. Corey, I forgot what his surname is.
Corey Good.
And I don't know. I tried it for 3 months, and I didn't have any success. I don't know. I think I'm too set in a way, but I mean, it worked with my daughter. It worked 100%. So it can be done.
No, but so did you not try the same method that your daughter was doing? Did you not try that on yourself?
No, because it's quite sophisticated with a child. It's like you'll have to have someone else to do it with, and it's. I mean, I don't want to give the thing away because obviously it's Nicola's business, but it's a kind of you make them believe that they can do it. It's a way that you make them believe, and then through their belief system that it just happens. But with us, we wired so strongly now that I wish I could, like, to me, even see my daughter do it and I know it's real. I still, when I put on the blind, I don't have the belief that I can do it. So it just doesn't happen. So there's a way to.
Yeah, you've got that.
When you're a kid, it's easy to fool them into doing anything. You just tell them like, look at,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've always got that little thing, that voice at the back of the mind that says, did she really, really do it? Was there maybe some sort of trickery? Yeah. So there's always something trying to say, can't be, it's impossible, it's not going to happen. Even though as much you might be like an 80% saying, yes, I believe it. The same as with the remote viewing. Do the remote viewing and I get the stuff right. I'm thinking, yeah, man, this is, and then there's always that like 10-20% in the back that says, oh yeah, but it could be just coincidence, it could be this, it could be that. So yeah. So,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. But anyway,
But
cool. William.
Sweet, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man. Much appreciated for your time again, as always.
Yeah, you too.
To everybody out there, like and subscribe is our usual ending piece that we say.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you guys next week. Yeah.
Later, guys. Thanks, Lee.
Lekker, cheers. No problems.